Actors, we've all got issues, so let's talk about them. I'm Juan Ayala, and welcome to Actors with Issues. Each week, we bring you interviews with actors from across TV, film, and Broadway, taking many deep dives into their careers and getting into the successes, the struggles, and of course, the issues that they face as actors. That's enough about us. Let's dive into the episode. Today's guests are a pair of writers, directors, and producers, as well as the creative minds behind Ride or Die, one of the amazing short films part of this year's Bite-Size Halloween on Hulu. Please welcome to the stage Minsun Park and Teddy Tenenbaum. Folks, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us on.
So before we dive in, we always start with a quick rapid fire game. Minsun, coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Teddy, film or television?
Both. That's not fair.
Acceptable answer. Minsun, drama or comedy?
Oh, that's hard. Comedy.
Teddy, hero or villain?
Villain, for sure.
Minsun, what movie never fails to make you laugh?
Napoleon Dynamite.
Good choice. Teddy, what movie never fails to make you cry?
It's a Wonderful Life.
He's already crying thinking
Good.
about it.
Good choice.
I cry
Minsun,
3 times every time I see it.
Minsun, what filmmaker has had the biggest influence on you?
That's a good one. Recently, Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
This is for both of you, actually. If you could have lunch with any actor, dead or alive, who would it be?
Ooh, what would it be? Ruth Gordon from Rosemary's Baby. I love her so much.
I can't top that.
And lastly, also for both of you, what is your favorite scary movie?
Mine's Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah, I was just
Hands
saying
down.
Rosemary's Baby. It's hard to beat that one. Yeah.
But recently there have been some other great
Yeah.
last year, His House was my favorite horror film.
And in recent years,
great.
Orphanage. Orphanage is
Orphanage is one of the best.
Yeah.
2 years.
There's so many gems of like horror movies that like don't get like full theatrical releases that you kind of have to find elsewhere. But like,
Yeah.
I love the horror genre, so I loved watching this collection. And you guys are the fourth group of filmmakers from this series that I've interviewed. So I've just loved getting to watch these like new bite size. There we go. Horror films. So with Ride or Die, I found so many like different threads going through. It's like a zombie slash infection type of deal. It is man versus nature. It's also like speed, like don't stop driving or the bomb goes off, disaster happens. So where did the idea for this short come from?
That's a good one. You've always wanted to do a driving one. I know that.
Yeah, I mean, originally, I think the character and the emotional drive came from teaching our kids how to drive and the true horror involved in that. And I think that was what set up, that world that we wanted to do. But yeah, I think sometimes just the device of not being able to stop is, we think, a fun device and used to in different ways. And as you mentioned, speed, and also It Follows. And I think we just had a kind of a different way of doing it that we just wanted to try and put
like
the two together.
Post-pandemic, or actually we're endemic now. Is that what it's called? When you're, we're all like trying to stay ahead of it. We're all trying to like escape and so I felt like that was just basically all of our lives, just to keep moving, try to outrun whatever's, after us.
Yeah. But I think thematically, like we wanted to do was tell a story about how every generation before Generation Z has, but especially Gen X and boomers, have destroyed the world. And Gen Z is now, has to pick up the pieces.
They're now behind the wheel and steering, the future, which is literally what these 2-3 kids, represent for us.
Yeah. Oh gosh. So many different threads and themes going throughout that it's like, it's hard to pick a favorite, but like all of it like really does is so clear and makes sense. So I'm curious with every short film, there are always, I feel like, challenges that arise maybe unexpectedly or something you're sort of prepared to do. With this one, I'm sure it was like long night shoots and things like that, outdoor shoots. But what particular challenge would you say arose? And if so, what lesson was learned in the process?
Oh, God, what do we pick one challenge? You want to start with the big challenge?
Yeah, sure. So I think the biggest challenge we had was when we discovered that our amazing drive actress who's driving the car in the short. That's Bianca Desmo, who we cast because of her talent. We discovered about a week before the shoot that she doesn't know how to drive and doesn't have a driver's license. So, and you know, the entire short film is her driving. So there was a verisimilitude in terms of being scared of driving because that actually happened. But here's what we learned from it. We learned from it that Minsun is not only an amazing writer and director and actress, but also an incredible stunt driver because she was the stand-in for Bianca when the car needed to be driven.
Luckily, we had similar hair, you know, and so we could be. I could double as her.
And each of you also appear in the film as this sadly doomed couple that they find on the side of the road. Was that a conscious choice? Was it sort of out of convenience, like we'll already be there, so let's just do that? Or just I'm curious, what was the sort of the thought process behind being in the film as well as all of these other hats you wore?
It's a little bit of both, I would say. We thought,
for me, it was only the second one.
Yeah,
I don't want to be in it.
Well, we had a very tight budget, and so we mistakenly thought that we could save money on the two, you know, extra roles, but they had to pay us anyways because that was, you know, for whatever reason, union reasons. Roles, so. But we put that money back into the production, so we did end up saving money. So it was a monetary decision at the end.
Yeah, I have no designs on acting, and I don't want to do it. But Minsun's been in all of our shorts so far.
But I'm not an actress or anything. It's just like
but you won Best Supporting Actress at one of the festivals.
I know, it was funny.
So you also made a conscious decision to make sure to have a very diverse both cast and crew. So for any young filmmakers out there, what advice can you share with them in order to also have sort of this very inclusive and diverse behind the scenes and casting process and all of that?
What advice?
I would say take advantage of the moment because we honestly don't. I mean, right now is the best time ever for both people of color and women in film because for the first time in my lifetime in film, for sure, the studios are actually looking for that. And I don't know if it's going to last, honestly. I mean, this is whether or not it is genuine. And I know every studio has different people and different ways of doing things, so you don't know. We know that 20th Digital is very serious about it, and but for other studios, who knows? And so they may be doing it just for the look of it, but whatever. Take advantage of it. Get into film now while you have the opportunity to get experience and work your way up, because there's a possibility, a sad possibility, that this will turn into some kind of fad and will disappear with the people who don't really care about it, who are just doing it for optics.
And also, I would also add on to that, like, as a, you know, don't be afraid to lean into your culturally specific stories, right. And your personal stories, because it turns out that the personal is very universal. You know, we all are people at the end of the day. We all have the same fears. And so whatever story you think is like too culturally ethnic or specific, don't be afraid of leaning into that, because it actually turns out that people are interested in hearing fresh perspectives and stories. And we've seen the same old, and horror is always reinventing itself.
And I would even say it's not only universal, because it is, but also it's specific. And that's what's missing from Hollywood, is we've been telling the same white man stories and in horror, white women stories too, but not told by women, always told by men. So, you know, we need to, the stories that are being told by women and by people of color are specific, interesting, and unique from a unique perspective. And audiences are saying, yeah, more of that. That's what we need. And so lean into it for that reason as well.
And with our show being called Actors with Issues, we call it that because we love to sort of shed light on some of the different issues and obstacles that creators come across throughout their careers. So is there anything that comes to mind as something that you know now about entertainment or filmmaking that you wish you knew a bit earlier on?
Oh boy. I wish I knew. But do you have something that you?
Yeah, I mean, I made the mistake for a lot of my career of just trying to learn by watching movies. That was about it, and reading scripts. But I have discovered late recently in the last 10 years that I've gotten probably the best insights that I have from reading books on the subject of filmmaking, and not just books about writing. The book Making Movies by Sidney Lumet, who is a producer, not a writer or a director, is one of the best movies about best books about storytelling I've ever read. Books about writing novels are great ways to learn about story, which is the most important part. Bird by Bird, which everyone talks about as a writing book, is an absolute must. Stephen King's On Writing is an absolute must. So I just think people should study the craft more by reading from the people who know.
And I also think I'd like to add, as a writer, I've learned over the years that motivation is not important. It's about discipline, and discipline is everything. So whether you feel like it or not, you got to show up and do the work. Same thing like going to the gym. Just do it. Just put in the time, show up.
And let me pitch one more great book to read too, which is Chuck Wendig's book, Damn Fine Story. That's a really amazing book on story, and great for writers, directors, and actors. Anyone who's trying to tell a story in any way.
Awesome. Well, Teddy and Minsun, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us, and congrats on the short and for being included in this amazing collection. This year especially has been like one of my favorites. So congrats.
Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
Likewise.